After months of relentless negotiations, Arsenal have finally landed their man, a top-class striker, to spearhead their attack. The long and winding saga surrounding Viktor Gyökeres is over. The Gunners and Sporting Lisbon have reached an agreement, bringing to a close one of the most talked-about transfer stories of the summer of 2025. In the end, it was always going to be hard for Sporting to say no to the mountain of cash Arsenal put on the table. The deal is worth €63.5 million up front, with an additional €10 million in add-ons. And from the players' side, even Gyökeres representatives had to reduce their commission demands to make the move happen. The Swedish striker is set to sign a 5-year deal with the Gunners, officially becoming Arsenal's newest recruit. Interestingly, the noise never came from Arsenal. The complications began on the Sporting side. According to Gyökeres himself, promises were broken. But for Sporting, holding on to their star striker never made much long-term sense, not when such a large sum could be reinvested elsewhere. Still, things got messy. There were clauses, disagreements, and a lot of back and forth. Initially, there was a gentleman's agreement between Sporting and Gyökeres. He could leave for €60 million plus €10 million in fairly easy bonuses. Arsenal even offered €65 million, €60 million plus €5 million in add-ons. But then Sporting moved the goalposts. They demanded 4 separate €2.5 million bonus clauses. Arsenal didn't mind the total amount, but they disagreed on the conditions. It took days of tense negotiation, but finally the deadlock was broken. And so Arsenal continued their mission to finally reclaim the Premier League title. After coming up short in recent seasons, the club is building with purpose in the summer of 2025. At the top of their wish list, a world-class center-forward, someone who can not only score goals, but also connect with the creative forces around him. Viktor Gyökeres ticks every box. At 27, Gyökeres is entering his prime. A former Coventry City star, he's now a striker with the hunger for glory, craving big matches, big moments, and big trophies. Arsenal offer him the perfect stage. And he made his desire crystal clear right after the 2024 to 2025 season ended. "I only want to join Arsenal." He wasn't bluffing. Gyökeres meant every word. He stayed professional throughout his final season at Sporting, finishing with a jaw-dropping 39 goals in domestic competitions alone. He stayed true to his promise, loyal until the very end. And it wasn't just about Arsenal beating Sporting's resistance. Gyökeres also turned down Manchester United multiple times. Even the presence of his former manager, Ruben Amorim, at Old Trafford couldn't sway him. Portuguese media swirled with reports that Gyökeres skipped training sessions amid the tension. He even ended his relationship with actress Inés Aguiar, choosing his career and ambition over comfort and familiarity. He knew what he wanted. Mikel Arteta must be smiling. For too long, Arsenal have struggled to find a consistent source of goals. From Lacazette to Aubameyang to Gabriel Jesus, the burden of the number 9 shirt has never quite been lifted. But now they may have found the answer. Gyökeres brings a new dimension to the Emirates. Standing at 1.89 meters, he's a physical powerhouse, capable of bullying even the toughest defenders in the Premier League. But this isn't just about strength. The numbers speak for themselves. 54 goals across all competitions last season, averaging 1.18 goals per game, according to Transfermarkt. That's elite. He plays with terrifying decisiveness, powerful, ruthless, and ice-cold in front of goal. But he's also a perfect fit for Arteta's high-octane system. Gyökeres isn't just a finisher. He presses, runs tirelessly, and sets the tone from the front. He's a striker who defends from the front line, who chases lost causes, who gives everything. What's also notable about the 1998-born player is his remarkable independence. He can create chances for himself and is exceptionally strong in one-on-one contests. Sometimes Viktor Gyökeres will drop deeper to connect with his teammates, just as he often did last season for Sporting Lisbon. That's how he ended up with 13 assists. He's not just a goal scorer, he's a complete forward. Whether Arteta lines up in a 4-2-3-1 or switches to a 3-4-3, Gyökeres adapts seamlessly. Some critics argue that he'll face a reality check in the Premier League, that no matter how brightly he's shown in Portugal, England is a whole different beast. A place where the best defenders in the world will test his limits. And Arsenal fans do have some reason to worry. But let's not forget what this man did in Europe last season. He tore through Champions League defenses, scoring against Union Berlin and PSV Eindhoven, and most memorably, netting a hat-trick against Manchester City. Let that sink in. A hat-trick against City. This isn't some flash in the pan. This is a striker with pedigree. Viktor Gyökeres is proof that it's never too late to rewrite your story. Why is he so desperate to return to England? Because he's been here before and left with unfinished business. Most people forget he once wore the Coventry City shirt, scoring 43 goals in 116 appearances. But that was in the Championship. He was part of Brighton's academy but never got his shot in the Premier League. And that's the fire that's been burning inside him ever since. 2 years. That's all it took for him to turn heads across Europe and force England to remember his name. Now he returns, not as a prospect, not as a maybe, but as one of the most feared forwards on the continent. Sweden has a legacy in the Premier League. Freddie Ljungberg, Sebastian Larsson, Olof Mellberg, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. All of them left a mark. Deep down, Arsenal fans are praying Gyökeres is the next in line. Because this signing isn't just a transfer. This is a beast. A Scandinavian warrior who plays with intensity, hunger, and that unmistakable northern grit. But more than that, he carries the mindset of a champion. Exactly what Arsenal need. In so many ways, Gyökeres feels like the missing piece of Arteta's grand puzzle. Since the post-Wenger era began, Arsenal have never been this close to a Premier League title. But somehow, the finish line always slipped away. A lack of a clinical striker. That was often the difference. The Gunners had the defense. They had the midfield, a perfect mix of steel and flair. But the cutting edge, the player who could seal a win, kill off a game, that was missing. Champions have that player. City had Aguero, Chelsea had Drogba, Liverpool had Salah, United had Van Persie in 2013. Now Arsenal have Gyökeres. This deal sends a clear message to the rest of the league. Arsenal are done playing small. No more timid transfer windows. No more hesitation. The Gunners are here to compete and to win. Modern football is a financial arms race, and Arsenal finally understand that. You either invest or you fall behind. After wrapping up a deal for Martin Zubimendi, Arsenal went all in for Gyökeres. Bold, risky, but potentially brilliant. 73.5 million euros including add-ons. £200,000 per week. Double what he earned at Sporting. Arsenal rarely gamble this big. But when you're signing a man who came 1 goal short of the European Golden Shoe, you take the risk. And the timing couldn't be better. Arsenal's pre-season tour in Asia is the perfect chance for Gyökeres to settle in, learn the system, and start building chemistry with his new teammates. Make no mistake, Mikel Arteta is putting his faith, and perhaps his future, in Viktor Gyökeres. The pressure on the Swedish striker is enormous. He'll have to prove himself in the toughest league in the world, while convincing his manager that this record-breaking investment was the right call. But finally, after years of false starts, temporary fixes, and half measures, Arsenal have their striker. Viktor Gyökeres is here, and with him comes a fresh wave of hope. At long last, the Gunners have someone who can solve the goal-scoring puzzle that's haunted them for years. Arsenal fans have every reason to celebrate, because this club is no longer waiting around for greatness. Now, they're chasing it.